Here we are creating our very first podcast to express our authentic, uncensored, orgasmic essence. And I must tell you, I have had a few orgasms this morning in preparation for this first podcast to get my orgasmic essence flowing. So
don't get me turned on, girl. Don't get me turned on. Or no, let me change that. Get me turned on.
Yes, absolutely. Turned on by life. You're turned on by the mountains. I'm turned on by the ocean. You're in Austria. Here I am in Queensland, Australia. Opposite sides of the world, connecting on such a deep, authentic level.
Isn't this a beautiful moment? Like you just said, I'm in the mountains. You're on the sea with the background moving up and down. I'm trying not to get seasick. And you're in the morning, just arising. I'm at the night, turning down, going to bed. We're at those opposite things. And here we are connected, different parts of the world. It's a beautiful thing.
It is so beautiful. So, hey, let's start with how we met and the impact that had, because we met 15 years ago, and like you said, we have not been in physical proximity of each other since we met in the Himalayas 15 years ago. Yeah. So, we were strangers, complete strangers, with a humongous challenge ahead of us, climbing in Nepal to base camp, Mount Everest base camp. And what that trek did for us both, meeting each other, trekking, that big challenge, and just expressing our authentic, uncensored, orgasmic self to each other. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me your experience of that, Karrie?
Well, I mean, I was always pulled to go to base camp. And when I actually did it and booked it, because there was something I was longing inside. And there's something I was disconnected from. I wasn't feeling, as some people might say, I wasn't feeling myself. I wasn't feeling my zippity zappity self. I was feeling like disconnected. And that was kind of a scary feeling for me. So mountains always pulled me. But particularly the base camp was a long time dream. And when I arrived there on my own, I remember even seeing you guys in the airplane from Kathmandu to Lukla. And I think we even started the journey together. I think we, even though we had different guides, but a lot of times we go on big journeys for certain reasons, but something different unfolds, or something unfolds that we're meant to see or meant to discover. And what I didn't realize was I knew I was slightly disconnected, I would say slightly, to my sensuality. I wasn't feeling sensual. I was in my marriage, but I loved my husband deeply, but there wasn't much going on in that department as far as feeding our relationship sexually. But that's also a reflection of what was going on in me, right? And so on this trek, I'm going to find me, but this is the magic of mountains. You have these conversations in mountain huts. I mean, of course, we weren't into our phones then. I had a book with me instead. People talk, right? And yeah. In my world, just a conversation alone is orgasmic. I can get turned on by conversations, and you have time in those huts. And we got into some conversations there that my soul needed, because I was able, was part of me that felt guilty a lot, and I wasn't supposed to share that or think that or be like that. But in the presence of you and your partner, for first time in a long time, I felt completely safe and open to just let her rip. And when I say let her rip, I asked you all the questions I was curious in the moment and shared what I had in me. And I'm like, oh, was that ever like a soul? It was like a cleansing. Like I could say whatever I wanted, and I could, without anyone thinking I was nuts. I just felt this instant it's okayness. And that kind of opened up. I mean, we were climbing and we were being challenged, and so you're in the huts. I was going through my own stuff, but in that process, after these conversations, you helped me see a part of me that, well, yeah, I haven't been connecting to my pleasure. I haven't been like, connecting to me, touching me, right? And I was thinking I was supposed to find everything out there. And then so I began reconnecting myself, self-pleasuring in these Everest huts in my room. And I remember sharing that with you out in on one of our hikes into the next hut. I remember how juicily excited you were to hear that.
Yep.
You're like, wow, yeah, girl. It's like you're
I was a cheerleader, wasn't I?
cheering.
I remember describing to you how I bring myself to orgasm after orgasm after orgasm. Now,
Yes.
there was no nakedness or sexuality or porn-like demonstrations, but I remember squatting and showing you how I do my squat and bring myself to this multi-orgasmic state.
Yeah. And I was tapped in, tuned in, turned on by that, because there's a part of me that wanted to feed that as well, that was missing. And I didn't realize that was what was missing in my life. I really didn't. Like it was obvious, but it didn't really, it wasn't an aha until I started reconnecting to me and self-pleasuring again. Then I realized how long it had been. And I know there's so many people like that, or women like that just don't realize, they just let it go. It can be like years of not doing that. Right? Because they're in their anxiety, they're in their stuff. How do they have time or desire to do that? Well, I'm telling you, this is a portal to that, to releasing that.
Yeah.
Or seeing it in a different light. And it just goes to show you the power of nature. We're there in the Himalayas, up climbing from 3,000 to almost 6,000 meters. A little bit of altitude sickness, all that going around. But hey, it's humans connecting with other humans. And when the power of nature, whether you're on the water or in the mountains, is incredible, right?
Yeah. And we both had nothing to lose. We had no previous attachment at risk. We had no previous friendship or knowledge of each other. We had no previous preconceived ideas of each other or judgments of each other. So because there was none of that in the background, we could totally be ourselves, completely, authentically uncensored. And I feel we got to really know and love each other from a deeper level than we would if we'd known each other previously for all our lives, or 15 years, or whatever length of time, because there was nothing else except for that pure open nature and our pure open hearts, our pure open conversations. And that was so powerful, so powerful.
When we were in the huts, I do remember, and we had those conversations, and you were giving me some advice on things, and I went and experimented with it, what you said. And I remember feeling, because there are times I was going through a lot of anxiety at the time leading up to that, and like I said, disconnection. And after I had, experimented with myself and self-pleasured, and I come back down into the mountain hut room amongst the people, there was kind of a automatic resonance I had with the people. I felt at ease. Like there was I remember feeling like we're talking about 15 years ago. I felt before that somewhat always kind of a little bit on edge. And then after that, there was this, like, it was like instant connection with all in that room. And I remember sharing that with you the next day. I remember sharing this, like it's doing something else in me, like this, because that's what I desired. I went to Nepal for was connection, not just with myself, but with other people too, like a deeper connection. That's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. And that allowed me to feel that too.
Yeah. So you discovered that by connecting with yourself, with your own sensuality, with connecting with your own essence, your orgasm and your essence,
Yes.
that opened you up to connection with
Other
everyone
people.
else, even though you were experiencing this by yourself in your own cabin, privately. And then it changed your whole energy. You changed your whole way you interacted.
I became open, and I went and had conversations with people, and it was an opening.
Yeah.
Opening for me.
Yeah. How beautiful is that? I mean, how life-changing is that when you've come to the mountains feeling so closed and at an uneasy state, and searching for something but not quite knowing what that was within you, and you found so much more.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I mean, I believe everything happens for a reason, and I, with those feelings too, I had strong feelings for someone else in Austria, and it got sort of me confused on where, what direction to go and stuff. And I mean, that energy as well, I believe that sexual energy as well connected me more to my passions and desires in life, really set that in stone, which were actually a bit different than my husband's desires, including wanting to move to the mountains, right? And move to Europe. And that's why I go to the mountains, to feel that out, to if that's my truth. And so I was really struggling with that part, because I love my husband, and then there was that other big thing calling me, was to come to Austria. And but I was able to get pretty clear on what I was to do. And that was to be and live in the mountains. And it wasn't in line with where my husband was going. But I had to, it took a while for me to follow that, but I had to. That was the call to the mountains. As we get more connected in here, that truth is going to come through. It's going to keep, eventually it's going to win over,
Yeah. So the mountains, the conversations, the orgasms brought you so much clarity that it helped you clarify where you're at in your relationship, and you're starting a completely different path in life. So that's incredible. So do you want to talk about where we are, or how we reconnected, and what that has brought us?
Yeah, well, I connected with you a few years after, but it wasn't like a big connection. It was just kind of like you had just had a child, and so we didn't have a real deep conversation. But then I reconnected with you a year and a half ago. Well, no, 2 years ago. 2 years ago
2 years ago. Yeah.
on your birthday. And that's what sparked it. It was a birthday message. And then we began having conversations. I know you were having some sleep issues then. We were discussing that, right?
Well, when we reconnected 2 years ago, it sparked conversations again, those uncensored orgasmic conversations. And the reverse happened. So I was in a
Oh, yeah.
space of being, a mother, focusing on motherhood, focusing on my child, neglecting myself, neglecting my sleep, and reconnecting with you you came to me to remind me about my own orgasmic essence, that I had been put under the bed, put aside for higher priorities of being a good mother, a good wife, and all of that, a good nurse. And so you came back into my life to and gave me clarity and reminded me of my own orgasmic essence, and opened up those uncensored conversations again. And just how full circle is that? How magical is that? What comes
That
around
is
goes.
friggin' magical, because connected with it 2 years ago, I was in my orgasmic essence. Like, I was feeding it, and I mean, it continues to grow, but over the 10 years, quite a bit. And meeting you kind of where you were at, and I just felt this, yeah, I knew it was always in you. I knew it was, and that I knew you were keeping I knew you were
A
keeping
lid on.
a lid on it. Yeah, I knew you were keeping a lid on it, girl. I didn't realize it had to come out as much as like, it's huge for you. It's huge for you.
Huge. I didn't realize how much I was suppressing it.
Yes. Yeah.
All I know was I felt depleted, tired, worn out. I didn't feel myself. I felt I'd lost a part of myself in focusing on everyone else.
Mhm.
I neglected myself and my own need for that, to
This-
express my authentic orgasmic essence. I was still having orgasms, I was still being sensual, but I wasn't. It was those deeper conversations about it that healed and
Yeah.
rejuvenated and brought me back to myself, who I am, my authentic essence, which I'd neglected or put aside. So
Isn't that cool? Like, there's a 16-year span. It was actually 16 years ago that we were in Everest together.
yeah, 2007. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when I was disconnected, and I lost a part of myself. And then our
Yeah.
conversations, and now we reconnected, and you were feeling like you lost a part of yourself. Just, I'm reiterating what you said. And it's interesting how there's that, what's the word for that? There's that connection. And we haven't, like, I mean, we haven't met in 16 years.
No.
Haven't met up. And that's how energy works. You don't have to be, energy is powerful, whether you're, doesn't matter how many miles away you are, right? When the intention is there, and in an uncensored space, like, man, it's priceless, baby. It's priceless.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely priceless. And it's so priceless. That's why we want to create this container. We want to create conversations about creating containers just like this, because we both realize how valuable it is in a woman's life or anyone's life, but mainly we're speaking women because we are women and we can, only know what's within us. So, I've been creating containers on this boat with my yoga retreats. And the intentions for each yoga retreat is to be able to express your uncensored essence. And the response, within me and in all the women that have come on my retreats have just been, it really does, it sparks new life. And and creates that valuable juicy connections, and you're seen. It's being authentic, being seen and loved for who you are and what's inside of you.
Yes, and that our space, like just even on our messenger space on Facebook Messenger, that space alone creates so much, creates clarity. There's love there. And as we go back and forth, we're both thinking there are other women out there that need a space like this where they can let her free, right? We don't necessarily have to say everything to our partner. We need a space with other women to hear us, right? To hear that it's okay to say what's in my head right now. Like, because anything we shame, shame grows when we hide it, when it's not talked about, there's one way to you can express it and write about it, but when you share it with another human being, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, and it's witnessed without judgment.
Totally. And so there's nothing more powerful, especially these days, to break out of the old molds. And you have to live, it's coming to that. You have to live what's inside you, whether the people around you agree with it or not. It's going to keep knocking on your freaking door.
Yep. And it's always there. It's always there. And if you don't express it, what I'm learning and what I've learned, that when you do not express your authenticity, that's when you do spiral down into anxiety. You spiral down into depression. And that over a long period of time, that's what causes disease. That's what causes autoimmune disease. That's what causes cancer. And there's so much evidence cropping up these days and research, the link between that not being able to express yourself authentically and the link to unease or disease. So that's how important it is that it's this, this kind of conversations are literally life-saving
and double life-saving. You want to know why?
Why?
Because the cool thing about us is we're in nature at the same time. You hold space for people in the water. I hold space for people in the mountains. And what I see that happens with people, just like you on your retreats, on my adventures, it is uncensored in the mountains. Your shit comes up and you're with a group of people. So you're there, you have to kind of deal with it as it comes. At the same time, you have a group of supportive people, right? To help you up the mountain when your fears are telling you to turn around or maybe having a panic attack. There's people that will guide you through. And so you're in the water, I'm in the mountains. That's also that's what makes it extra special. Rather than going to a conference and taking there's lots of courses you can go and take on doing this stuff, but throw yourself in nature with a group of people in a container that's uncensored. There's nothing like that for transformation. I'm telling you. I don't
Yeah,
care
yeah.
if you take a week-long course with Tony Robbins, which is great, and you'll walk on fire and all that. But go into nature. See what that has for you. Amongst other people, like-minded people, uncensored space, and you got gold. You got gold, baby.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, you're right. It's that container of Mother Nature herself.
Yes.
Like, you know, the mountains, the ocean, pure, rugged, uncensored nature holding space for you, as well as the connections you make in that space. It's just so raw, so natural,
And unpredictable. And it teaches us this equanimity. It teaches us the, well, we don't know what's coming. How can I maintain my, okay, it may be pouring rain tomorrow, maybe we may have some lightning, we may need to change that here, we got to go faster because we got to get back. It teaches you to be flexible, to be open, to be, because I think we can only really invite in the biggest version of ourselves when we are open, when we're curious, when we're, we don't have, when we know we don't have it figured out.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So, Karrie, we're going to have lots more conversations like this, lots more uncensored, orgasmic. Conversations. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of what we are going to be sharing with everyone. Oh, yes, there's that to look forward to. We're going to share all about pussy. Oh, what the?
What the? What did you say?
Hang on, what?
Excuse me? Mm-hmm.
Now that's a word that we've both learnt to say with more ease, isn't it?
Yes.
That's a word we've both reclaimed. We've reclaimed since we've reclaimed our yeah. So let's wrap it up for today.
Yes.
And look forward to more and more conversations just like this.
Oh, juicy joy. Thank you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your uncensored orgasmic juice today. And have a turned on day. Oh, you're going to sleep. I'm going to have a turned on day.
I'm going to have a turned on sleep. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. An orgasmic sleep. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night orgasming? Maybe that's another podcast.
I think I have. Yes. I know you.
Yeah. Yes. Lots of fodder for more conversations and more juicy podcasts.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get this rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Lately I've been staring at the dark. Turn my inner demons into art. Struggle with the pain inside my heart. Wish I didn't care about what you want to say. What you want to say. What you want to say. What you want. Say what you want to say. What you want to say. What you want to say. What you want.